Everybody, it's Tanya here. Welcome to this series called Starseed Chat. And today we're going to talk about why starseeds need boundaries and how to chat with your galactic family. This is an excerpt from a podcast I did with Wendy Wright of Light Always Wins. And you can listen to the full podcast by clicking on the description, and there's links in there. All right, I'll catch you on the other side.
It's learning those basic techniques that can be applied to anything. So discernment is key because it really allows you to choose, okay, what is it that I'm allowing into my energy field, first of all? And secondly, does this feel right for me? And why am I accepting at face value what someone is telling me, whether that's a person or a book or an experience or, media? Why am I doing that? So it really allows you that introspection within. And I think it's such a key part in our growth as humans, having this human experience as a spiritual being, because it really lets you say, yeah, I'm here. I have the power of choice and I have the ability to do what feels right for me. Mm-hmm. But it can take a while to get there,
Yeah. And that brings me to my next question, which is like, how does it work for you? Like, how do you recognize the different energies? And I'm really interested in this when it comes to like the galactics that you channel as well. Oh, wow. Because I don't know, this is really like a personal question because for me, like I hear all of these. I hear things, but I don't know who it is. Yeah. For me, I don't know. Maybe it's just my higher self or it's a culmination, but I don't have a great way of just recognizing exactly what it is. So how does that work for you?
Well, it's more of I don't actually hear voices all the time. It's more of a knowingness, which I've always had. And then tuning into that. And so I will get to your question, but it needs a preamble from my part, totally. Which is I was at that point when I was younger that I was so excited to connect with spirit, to connect with anything. I had no boundaries. I was completely amorphous. I was like, oh my gosh, spirit. And I was like letting everything in. And it wasn't a great thing to do, because I'm highly sensitive. And so I was, I grew up in a place that had a lot of spirit that was kind of untethered. And so, everybody from the town that I grew up in has a ghost story. Now I look back on it and say, okay, I don't think it's ghosts per se. It's, it's spirit. But at that point, I was feeling everything. So the second I got a tinge of something that wasn't kind of scary, it was like, oh, let it in. So no boundaries. And I think that was a huge contributor to lifelong chronic fatigue. And so
that makes sense.
Yeah, because you're just putting so much energy out, and we're taught on the physical level that if you're being active or you're working out or you're doing something, that's your energy. But it's also in thought and intention. And so if you are constantly anxious or constantly feeling into energies and allowing it to come in without a filter, you're leveled out.
Yeah.
So learning to get those boundaries in place are very important. And that took me, I'm not going to lie, I'm in my 50s. It took me up until maybe 5 years ago.
Wow.
So things are on a much faster timeline now. People are learning this very early and quickly, and it's wonderful, and I'm glad to see that happening. But it is a reminder. It's the whole self-care ball of wax, there's all of that.
Yeah.
But learning to get those boundaries in place and say, all right, this is part of my process. So I have a group of spirit that I work with that are my inner circle. They're always with me. I call them in. I put up my boundaries. I create sorry, I'm just having a little bit of a chat in here. All right. So for those of you that want to try this at home, this is what I do. You don't have to sit in the lotus position and meditate for 4 hours to be able to channel spirit. Hi, I'm an ex-meditator of 4 hours a day every day for 10 years. That's all I did. You could be washing the dishes. You can be out walking in nature, connecting with the trees. It's that moment where your mind kind of goes quiet and you're not in the busy mind. That's meditative. Now, add to that intention, and that's when things get really fun. So that's what I do. I'll sit down and say, all right, I would like to work with a group of spirit. And this past year has been primarily galactics. And I'll say, I would like to work with a group of galactic spirit for a week or so. And who is it that's going to come in? Or I'll ask for a specific group. And I use a very neutral space. So I will sit down, I invite in my closest group. Archangel Michael's at the front, and I say, hey, Archangel Michael friend, can you work as a gatekeeper so that only the energies that need to come through, that are the most relevant, that are of the vibration that people are really wanting to be connecting to, will come through. And so I don't have to worry about dealing with any other stuff. So It frees up a lot of energy for me to just be quiet. And then I create a space that feels comfortable in my mind. So for me, I create a very neutral space. It's kind of white. I've got nice hardwood floors, like colorful cushions, plants, just somewhere that feels comfortable for me. And then I basically create a door, and I wait for a knock on the door. And ask Archangel Michael who it is, and then I'll get a connection. Sometimes I'll be very specific. For instance, I've been working with the Blue Avians, who are a very interesting group, higher dimensional frequency group. And I said, I would like to work with these guys because I haven't before, and I'd like to connect with this energy. How does that feel? It took a while. I kind of put it out there, and it took a while. And it was more not them being accessible. It was my energy not being ready to channel that vibration, because it's very high frequency. It takes a lot of energy. So you have to be in a very relaxed state. Mm-hmm. This is me. For you guys who are channeling, or for you, Wendy, if you're channeling, it's just a matter of where your comfort zone is. So to recap, it's being comfortable in a nice space where you can have a little bit of quietude, inviting the guides that you like to work with around you, being clear in your boundaries. Who am I inviting? What kind of energy am I going to allow? Am I going to allow a single entity or group? I work with groups of consciousness often. Am I going to do this because I would like answers for myself or a specific question? Am I going to ask for a message for others? It's really about the finesse of the detail. And that gives it a lot more focus. The more focused, the more, in my experience, the more strong of a connection that I get. That makes sense.
I think it's really interesting. I think for me, I'm just like, I'm not as sensitive as you, so I feel like I have a narrower channel. And so it's almost like I've automatically been having an intention, and then whatever I'm aligned with is what I'm aligning. Does that make sense? Like I'm aligning, what's coming through is what I'm aligned with. But maybe it's just a matter of asking questions like, who is this? And sometimes I get senses like who it is based on where they're directing me to look at. Like a lot of times I'll be directed to certain books or looking up certain pieces of history and stuff like that.
And that was just the beginning of our conversation. Oh, it was so much fun connecting with Wendy from Light Always Wins podcast. You can click the More button and check out the description for a link so you can listen to the podcast if you like. I look forward to bringing you more segments from that conversation over the next couple of weeks. And hey, in the meantime, please do like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying this type of content. It would be great to have you as part of this budding group of starseeds and spiritual seekers that are gathering on the channel. And thank you so much for being here. I am Tanya. I am a crystal whisperer. I am a light code activator, and I am a channeler of spirit. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. And until then, have a great time.